Thanks for visiting Environmental Echo. We want to bring you information about a variety of outdoor nature and environmental events happening right here in the St. Louis region. And now, let's learn a little bit more about an upcoming local event. We are talking today with Matt Schindler and Annie Mayrose. Matt is the new executive director of the Gateway Greening organization here in St. Louis, and Annie Mayrose is the Gateway Greening's volunteer and outreach manager. Thanks for joining us today, Matt and Annie.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Gateway Greening is hosting a documentary screening of Can You Dig This? It is produced by John Legend. Most people know Legend as a musician, but it looks like he also branches out into a producer role. And let me set the film up. I looked at the trailer, and I've watched that trailer several times from Can You Dig This? After I saw it, it was so engaging. And it's only like 1 minute and 40 seconds, but after I watched it, I was all in to find out more about this movie. One of the things that drew me in, it's really about people. And the people in this story are in a poverty-stricken area with higher crime rates in South LA. From the trailer, it looks like a handful of what they call themselves are gangster gardeners work to bring homegrown food to their community. And it looks like a whole lot more just grows out of the ground with the effort. So first of all, tell us how Gateway Greening and why Gateway Greening got involved with this and why people wouldn't want to go see this documentary.
Well, I guess Gather Movies reached out to us in terms of hosting the premiere. They're the ones bringing the movie to St. Louis. And the story that is told in the movie, from what we can tell also from the trailer, we have not seen the movie, that it seemed like a good fit for Gateway Greening to be a partner in pushing the movie out and exposing the St. Louis community to really what the benefits are of community gardening. And the benefits that are just not the plant growing, but also the community development that comes with that. And taking a space that has had problems or issues in the past and putting a positive focus, positive development on that piece of land. And the movie, as you said in the trailer, kind of grips you. And from what I understand, the movie kind of goes through some of the stories of the gardeners there in Los Angeles. So it's more or less the same approach we've taken here in St. Louis with Gateway Greening and addressing some of the issues in vacant land and putting them back into good use.
And so give us a breakdown of what Gateway Greening does here in St. Louis.
Gateway Greening has a couple different focuses, and it all comes down to trying to educate and empower the communities in St. Louis through urban agriculture. And it comes through primarily, you have 4 focus areas in Gateway Greening. The first one being community gardens, and that network has over 230 gardens in St. Louis City and St. Louis County. And those gardens include both the neighborhood type gardens that are out there, but also school gardens and library gardens too. And then we also, under the Gateway Greening umbrella, have the City Seeds Urban Farm. And that program, it is a true urban farm downtown in the heart with the arch view in the background. It's 2 acres of farm that has a job training program and a therapeutic program using gardening and farming as a tool to help with job skills and mental health issues. And then with those 2, we have youth educators that are on staff that go out to schools too and use the gardens, use the resources we provide to help educate both teachers and the students on how to grow the garden, grow the vegetables, and with that process, teach them other skills too, and appreciation, both with science, with math, and then too, the mental health issues with that at the same time. And then lastly is the fact that with Gateway Greening, we have over 3,800 volunteers come through our agency per year with corporate and individual volunteers that go out to the farm, that go out to these gardens. And the overall focus for Gateway Greening is community development. So we're in the communities with the garden, bringing people together. We're in the schools with the garden, bringing people together. We have the farm doing the same thing. And we bringing in people from all around St. Louis through the volunteer program to experience this and assist this and grow these areas of farming and gardening.
That's a lot to take in, just over 3,000 volunteers too. That's a huge operation to try and manage.
Yes, and the volunteers really help leverage our impact. With their support, both as volunteer groups as well as individuals, our staff of 12 can really support and enhance and revitalize all the neighborhoods we serve in through the maximization of these volunteer groups. And it's a great way as Matt said, the gardens are a great equalizing environment to bring different people together to, get new experiences. That's really what it's all about.
Okay, so all of the gardens are taken care of. It's all a volunteer effort?
Well, each individual garden is maintained by that community, by that neighborhood. So each garden is unique, and they run the gardens, and we support them in their endeavors by providing volunteer assistance, infrastructure, education, resources, and to create the garden that was best suited for their neighborhood.
Okay, and then how are these gardens funded? Because I'm guessing there's a cost for seed and a few things like that.
Well, the gardens themselves, it's a community-based garden, so they're the ones that have the idea and come to us for some resources. We can provide some of the beds for them, some of the tools for them, some of the seeds for them, but it's really the community that's leading these projects. And along the way, we do offer some opportunities to buy plants through us. We do give some plants sometimes, and then we do have trainings that are free, both just for the gardens and for the general community in St. Louis on how to garden better and farm better.
The funding itself comes from a variety of sources. We are a nonprofit, so a lot of community-based donations, grants, etc., foundations, a variety of sources.
Okay, and do you see a lot of participation from communities? Can you give me an example of one community that you're in and the participation levels that you see?
Definitely. We have a lot of, if you go to gatewaygreening.org, we have a fantastic map of gardens that lists all 230 plus gardens, and you can zoom in and look at the exact neighborhood. And you might find a neighborhood and a garden just down the street from where you're at. And so we have a variety of both school and community gardens, and it's great to see many sites working together. So you have community, parents, the community all volunteer together and working together in a school garden. So we have multiple, we have so many. We have partnered with both church-based organizations, community-based organizations, other nonprofit institutions, and a lot of them are working together on combined sites. So I don't want to necessarily point out just one, because there's so many great stories.
Okay, and you see a lot of participation?
Definitely. So for any new garden, we do require that there's at least 10 community members committed to that project, and usually there's much more than that. But we want it from the ground up, coming from the community, and then again, we support them through additional resources and education, volunteers, etc. But these are community-driven projects. We don't go into a site and build it and they will come. No, this drive comes from the members themselves, and we help them build to their vision.
Okay, and then what types of food do they plant and what happens to that food? Do the members get to take it home, or is there like a little garden stand or something like that?
Great question. Well, I think the last number I saw was about 200,000 pounds a year. Collectively, we estimate is produced among all of our gardens. So even though some of these are smaller pocket parks and some of them are quite large, they produce a huge amount of food when you tally it all up. So we have many gardens that are each individual plot is operated by a family, for example, and so whatever food they would grow, they would take for themselves. But then we have larger community gardens that grow an excess of food, like plant a row, and they donate it to the local food pantry or the local church. A number of our institution-type gardens actually have food pantries on site, or they have a partnership with the local church. They're growing in a larger amount for distribution to provide for other parts of the community. And then, of course, we have our urban farm, which is growing at a much larger production scale, which we provide. Last year alone, we grew about 18,000 pounds on that site alone. So we provide, we sell food there in terms of different wholesale accounts, as well as we have a CSA program. So there's a lot of different venues for food production, both locally and then, of course, distributing that in areas of need wherever it needs.
Okay, I see. So in some of the gardens, like a family in one community can have a little plot of land inside the garden, and they can kind of have their own garden.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that actually sounds really neat. And the kids, of course, get to see how food is grown and how much work it takes to take care of it, and then get to enjoy the fruits of their labor, right?
Literally. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and we definitely see, even if people don't necessarily may or may not have a green thumb, we really think gardening is a powerful tool because it brings people together, and ultimately the benefits of the garden are, as you said, providing that safe community gathering space, providing a space for kids to learn and get exposed to where food comes from at an early age, provide that alternative set setting in a school to get outside. And also, it's a tool for community, for development as well in a neighborhood revitalization, as well as reducing crime in the neighborhood over the long term, and of course providing physical activity, nutrition, and all of the good food and social impacts of the garden itself in terms of building those relationships in the neighborhood.
Do you have any success story that you've seen of an example of that from your gardens or schools?
Just one of the anecdotes that I've heard recently is that there's this vacant parcel that they were having drug deals there. The community decided to turn that parcel into a community garden. Those drug deals are no longer there. They've cleaned up that block and brought a new resource to that community as a focal point. It's a point where people can come together. And I think that on a small level, those changes with the land use can be very impactful for the whole community.
And I can tell you a lot of stories about clients that I've seen participate in our City Seeds Urban Farm Jobs Training Program that have originally came to us. They might have been dealing with homelessness, they were unemployed, they were dealing with many barriers. And since going through the program, they are now employed locally. They have come back since to teach our new participants in the program and really inspire and motivate and encourage the next group. And now they're, housed, they have a family, and they're just very self-sufficient and very successful. So there's a lot of personal successes through the act of gardening.
That's amazing, and all of that, and then to have a block where they were selling drugs and they put in a garden and then kind of cleaned that, drove them out. I mean that's really an amazing outcome.
And I think one of the things that always not surprises us, but it's a beautiful thing is the moments in the garden when kids just are exposed to things like worms and learning about the plant life cycle and bringing a chicken into the classroom and just how the things that kids say, as you know, it's just eye-opening. It's just exposing people to a whole new world of possibilities.
I think one of the stories I heard recently was one of the students asked, when they saw the worms, they asked the teacher, so how do they make these gummy?
Oh, yeah, because they're used to the gummy worms. That's actually pretty cute, but I don't think you'd want to eat those worms from the garden. But that actually sounds like a huge responsibility, and I guess springtime is probably your biggest time to get going with stuff like that, right?
Yes. Right now it's a nice lull for the staff. They're kind of happy now once the harvest is done, but the ramp up is early spring. Things start happening.
So we're really hitting the ground running from March to November. So it's busy year-round, all season long in terms of the growing season here in St. Louis. But we're open to the public, all year and provide ongoing resources and planning throughout the year, which can be found on our events calendar at gatewaygreening.org.
Okay, so now if someone wanted more information about the gardens themselves, or if they were thinking maybe they'd like to bring a garden to their community, who would they contact and how would they contact them?
We actually have a new project, garden program orientation coming up in January. And to find out more about that, you can email me. It's Andrea, Andrea @gatewaygreening.org, and I can get you registered for that orientation. Or if people are interested in signing up for additional volunteer orientations, even though our gardening programming is kind of winding down for the season, our youth programming is still active in schools throughout the winter, and so those volunteer opportunities still exist throughout the winter, and those are monthly orientations as well, which I can set people up with. And as I mentioned, our map of gardens on the website is a great resource if you want to get involved locally in your own neighborhood. Send me an email, and I can put you in contact with the garden leader in that neighborhood.
And also say, too, on our website at gatewaygreening.org, too, you can sign up for our newsletter, which has all the information about what's going on with the gardens, the farm, the education, and the volunteering.
Okay. The St. Louis movie premiere of Can You Dig This is hosted by Gateway Greening. It's December 2nd at 7:30 p.m. at Warenberg's Ronnie 20 Theater. There is a charge for the tickets, and there are some tickets left. So if someone wanted more information about this screening, where do they go and how do they get that information?
You can call our office at 314-588-9600 for our main line and order tickets that way. Or again, through the website, I believe there's a registration.
There's a link off our website then too, yes.
Okay. We will try to put some links up for everyone along with this podcast when we post it on Environmental Echo. Is there anything you guys want to add?
No, we're excited to see the movie next Wednesday. We're curious to see the story that they've had to tell out in Los Angeles and how it applies to what's happening here in St. Louis.
All right,
really thank you, Holly, for the opportunity to talk to you about it.
We've been talking with Matt Schindler and Annie Mayrose from Gateway Greening here in St. Louis. Thank you to both of you for your time today, and we would love to have you back in the spring to find out more about what's going on in the near future for you guys.
That'd be great. Thank you.
I'm Holly Shanks reporting for Environmental Echo. Thanks for listening.